E. Wong. Hey, what's up, you guys? Yeah, you ever gone to a Korean barbecue restaurant? It's kind of unique in that you pay to cook your own meat, right? And if you pay a little extra, you can wash your own dishes and take out the trash. Yeah, I was at Mount Baldy this past weekend. And I learned that it wasn't always called Mount Baldy. No, back in the day when it was more younger and more hopeful, it was known as Mount Rogaine. Yeah, some dude told me that said when you scratch your head, that's what makes you bald, you know? But I don't think so, because my balls are still hairy as hell. Yeah, one of my buddies, white dude, you know, he's like super duper white. I think he's like part albino or something. Yeah, he's so white when he comes to my house, all my plants start growing in his direction. And you know, whenever I have sex, it never lasts as long as I'd like to, you know? I'm like, come on, penis, hang in there. It's always like, yeah, screw this. Bleh. Yeah, I used to go to water parks every summer, you know. But then one summer I had a kind of traumatic experience, so I stopped going. Yeah, when I was 16, I was at Raging Waters. And I'm waiting on these stairs, right, to go into this water slide. And I look up, and the girl next to me, she's about the same age, but her boobs are like right in my face, you know. And it's kind of cold and it's windy, right? So her nipples are like popping out. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I turn, but now this girl right here, her face is like right in my junk. You know, and like I've already got a partial woody, right, from nipple girl over here. But then this girl here, she like yawns, right? So I'm like, oh my God, you know? And it's like, man, you know, I almost punched her in the face and shit. And then like, I was like, oh, I gotta get out of here, you know? So I run up the stairs. And apparently this is pretty common at Raging Waters because the lifeguard was like, come on, just go. So I got on the slide, I got out of there. I was like, damn, they should rename this place. They should call it Raging Boners. Why didn't the oyster share his food? He's shellfish. Alright, there's a sailor, right? And he gets hired on this boat. And they're out to sea for about 6 months, right? And then he's talking to his buddy. He's like, hey, when do we go back to the port, you know? I'm getting kind of horny out here. He's like, oh, no, we're not going back to port for another 6 months. And he's like, what? I can't wait that long. It's like, well, have you tried the barrel? He's like, no, what's that? So he shows him to this room, and there's a barrel in there, and there's a little hole in the barrel. He said, well, here you go. So he tries it out, right? He starts fucking the barrel. And he's like, oh, you know, it starts working really well. And he's like, man, that's awesome. Like, hell yeah, I'm going to use this barrel every day. He's like, well, every day but Sunday, right? He's like, oh, you can't use it on Sunday? He's like, well, you can, but Sunday's your day in the barrel, so. What do you call a guy that can make a business suit real fast? Taylor Swift. Yeah, I think Pride Month needs a mascot, right? And I got the perfect one, the flamingo. All right, they got pink feathers, they love to dance, and they're like a non-predatory, peaceful type of bird, you know? They only eat like brine shrimp and algae and stuff. Nobody gives a damn about brine shrimp. And you know what a group of flamingos is called? They're not called a flock. No, they're called a flamboyance. How gay is that, right? It's like all the best parts of Pride Month, all wrapped up into one animal. Even the name flamingo is flaming O. Right, a flaming O? That's just a burning butthole. And you know, whenever a guy brags about how big his junk is, right? It's usually the opposite, right? It's usually really small, you know? Yeah, I was talking to this guy the other day. He was like, oh man, my dick's so big, I'm hung like a horse. I was like, shh, yeah, like a seahorse. And I think Shaquille O'Neal's like the happiest man on earth, right? He's always so jolly and like everyone just loves him, right? Now I think it's because no one's ever bullied him before. Yeah, like how are you gonna mess with someone who's so tall that his crotch is in your face? It's like, hey Shaquille, give me your fucking lunch money. Never mind. You know that thing going around where like if you're a lady and you're alone in the woods, you should rather run to a bear or a strange man. And a lot of women are choosing the bear, right? Well, I think that's just ignorance of bear knowledge. Yeah, because I ran into a bear alone in the woods once. And he fucked the shit out of me. And you know, earlier this year, scientists for this first time documented 2 male humpback whales having sex. Yeah, Warner Brothers already gonna make a movie about it. Yeah, they're gonna call it Humpback Mountain. Yeah, it's weird how language changes over time, right? Like nowadays, if a guy came up to me and told me he was gonna blow my brains out, I wouldn't know whether to run away or pull my pants down. Yeah, I was watching this Bigfoot show the other day, and it struck me as how dedicated these Bigfoot hunters were. Yeah, you know, they're like so devoted to something that might not even be real. Like comedians in their careers. Yeah, I've had sex with all different types of women. Like white, black, Asian, Hispanic. In my opinion, Asian women give the best blowjobs. Yeah. If any of you ladies like to prove me wrong, you can meet me in the bathroom after my set. Alright, you know, comedians will always tell you two things, right? They always tell you when they just get booked on a show. They always tell you when they just had sex. That's a bit juvenile, right? Like myself, I haven't been booked on a show in over a month. But I did get laid last week, so whoa! Alright, my name's Iwan Ong, I'm out of here, thank you.
All right, hey. How are you?